My name's Kevin, and we have Emilio, and Arnaud, and we are the dream team for the New Year's tournament. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you are doing well this lovely Saturday afternoon. And we're back again. We are back with round 3 right now with the tournament, and we are playing Swiss pairings, playing, I believe, 6 rounds, maybe 7, but it's about at least 6, right? So our contestants right now are players going to have quite the marathon and slew of games to have to face. Not even halfway through their games. So still a lot of room to come back if someone is behind in the spot because it is Swiss. But yeah, we got some tables set up here being judged by the lovely Fajir. And we're going to watch some games, folks. We're going to watch some MetaZoo. So it's going to be awesome. And then, yeah. So, Emilio, for people who are just coming to the stream right now, could you give a recap of what we saw in the first couple rounds?
Of course. Well, we saw a couple of very just like highlighted games that really show us where the meta is sort of heading. We had a very interesting mirror match between water decks that was specifically showcasing different ways in which you can play water, right?
Right.
We had we had the big hitters there. We had the Oklahoma Octopus. We had the Flying Manta Ray. We had lovely Loveland Frogman, who has made an appearance in the chapters of the graphic novel, if you are following that. And we also had other matchups such as Quetz, the Lightning deck, was being matched against a Dark deck, which was a really interesting matchup. We had, and Lightning took that game. We had also a game that was Flame versus Frost, in which was kind of locked for a while, but a really interesting gameplay with some Tick Kettlers, Gilas, and Anikooks.
And that game ended up in a draw too, right? The Frost and Flame one. First draw on stream, I believe.
And very interesting gameplay there for sure. And the other game that was sort of a highlight, we can go into deeper into either of them if you want, but we also saw Forest just like explode on the first 2 turns and completely destroy a Forest deck. So once again, highlighting, how like our deck diversity in the metagame, and that really like with the right cards, most of these decks can do some really big plays and take the game.
Agreed. Well, that was a great recap. And just for you, Emilio, I think we should go back and watch another Dark Lightning matchup because, I know you like Dark.
So. Well, thank you so much. That is a great choice, I might say, having Dark there. We are seeing a very interesting opening hand for Dark. We have the promo Mothman, which is a very it's a powerhouse if you've played against it or with it. Have some aura that's gonna make it happen. 1 aura in play, 2 aura in hand. It's a Death Beam for removal. So we have a Napa Rebops that is getting Thunderbolt right now.
Yeah, I think this got destroyed immediately.
You have to do that. The Napa Rebops damage does stack up, especially with that double caster damage.
Agreed. But you know what? Very interesting game state right now. Dark Lightning player went first, so they got tempo advantage as is. And Lightning player, very nice, just playing on curve, right? Next turn they're going to play another aura. Each turn playing aura page. They're going to get out a Quetzalcoatlus on the next turn, most likely, and get out another one, right? Keep in mind, though, they don't have Lightning Storm Terra right now, so they're not using the full power of the Quetz. Lightning Storm does more than double the damage of Quetz, and they don't have the Terra. However, Dark player getting a power spike much earlier on, getting that Mothman promo out. Emilio, what does Mothman promo do exactly that makes it so potent?
First of all, it has fear, right? It costs 3, has fear. So right now we didn't see the fear trigger because their opponent doesn't have any beasties. It has fine evasion and has a whooping 90 life. So that's a lot of life points. A 3-costed beastie. But that's not all. It has an ability that basically every time your opponent plays a beastie, they get the status indicator of scared. It means that every time those beasties fatigue, your opponent flips the coin, and if it's tails, that beastie goes back to their hand, setting them back quite a lot, right? Depending on what they're playing. In addition,
Right.
its attack has paralyze and hits for 50. And as if you have been following us, you know that paralyze can really do a big number, and that's what's happening right now. But the Mothman is getting paralyzed by the card Paralyze.
This
So
this is very interesting. I did
yeah.
not expect a paralyzed play from this early on. Normally, paralyze is played in conjunction with, say, a BC attack or against a BC attack. But playing paralyzed to paralyze, it looks like they're just trying to stall a little bit.
And the Mothman is hitting for 75 because we do have a nighttime Terra out. So maybe they are, the Lightning player is just trying to play very safe. But as you said, I don't know if I would have done the Paralyze
Right. It may have
at
been a
that
misplay.
time.
Right. Exactly.
Because ideally, you wanted to get a beast Paralyze, and then, as you said, potentially on their turn, right? You paralyze them on their turn, and then your turn, you have your aura back, and you can play something like Quetz. Have
correct.
a paralyzed Mothman that will not inflict scared on the Quetz. But yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know what's going on there.
Right. Dark has some of the most impactful beasties in the game, particularly Mothman Promo and Wendigo, as we've been seeing in these tournaments. Those cards can completely change games and win games if played properly. Well, it looks like our Lightning player is taking the risk, right? Right now, that Quetzalcoatlus has a 50% chance to go back to hand, right, because of Scare. And not only that, but it is impossible for that Quetz to destroy that Mothman. It'll take 2 hits, more than 2 hits. And they did get the hits, so that means the Scare indicator is going to wear off, and the attack is going to land successfully, right?
Then Mothman is going to hit back for 75 damage and paralyze as well.
Exactly right.
That is a very interesting move.
It's nasty, right? So Quest,
Mothman is the face of our game, and this card may tell you why. This is a really powerful card.
yeah, this is a very, very strong card, right? And it's not that the other Mothmans, there are 2 other Mothmans for you folks, if you don't know. One Nightfall Mothman and another Cryptonation Mothman, both of which are also good cards. But we've seen that players have really been attached to Promo Mothman, which is very easy to access since it is found in all the Cryptonation blister packs, which you can buy right now because Cryptonation has been reprinted. So you can get yourself a blister pack, no problem, for a fairly cheap price, and get this Mothman promo, no problem in your decks. Right?
Not only that, but it's also gonna be hitting the shelves soon of Walmart, right? So
yes, exactly, right.
We might be seeing this beautiful Mothman around more often. But right now, I missed the flip. Did the Mothman paralyze Quetz? Looks like maybe it failed because there's no indicator right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's discussing it right now, as is. Well, first Quest had to land paralyzed first, right? So I think engaging.
It failed. Yeah, it failed the paralyze, right? But then the Mothman is going to inflict paralysis too.
Right, and that's huge. If Mothman gets paralyzed, looks like they got the successful paralyze. Lightning player taking a lot of risks. Not only do they have to land a heads with 50% chance to get a scare off, but they also had to land a heads to get the paralyzed. Because if not, that Mothman was going to attack back, and it also had a 50% chance to get paralyzed on Quetz. And if it did that, that Mothman was going to destroy Quetz no problem any day of the week, right? But now Lightning players in a really stable board state. They were a little shaky at first, trying to find their ground, but they got destroyed.
The Grim Reaper comes, and Quetz is supposed to be in the afterlife, but it went to a limbo again. It's okay.
We can message him on it. But
of course, yeah.
So all right, so Dark player easily regaining their board state afterwards because of Death Beam, right?
Yeah, but that little does that Dark player know there's another Quetz in that hand. But as Kevin has highlighted, there's no Lightning Storm. Quetz
No,
is not hitting
right,
for its 90. Yeah.
right. But hey, we got a Thunderbird. Thunderbird can cheat out a Lightning Storm temporarily, so we'll have to see. Unfortunately, fortunately, there is a Paralyze in hand. Paralyze is
What?
oof. That a new big is
Oh,
huge. This is huge.
uh, that
Arguably
is.
arguably a misplay. Would you say? Oh, not
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree that that is not the play I would have done. But let's see. This player is taking lots of risk I would not take.
yeah.
Maybe there'll be a surprise.
Yeah, very surprising. But hey, it's gotten him Raptor this far in the tournament, and so far we've been pulling tables from the top to the top half. Right, he's on the top half games we're watching right now, and Raptors in the top half. He's contending, or sorry, they are contending for top 8 right now with their position. So, the new beginnings may have been the play Raptor exactly wanted. But this is a questionable hand from Raptor. Before he had a very decent hand. He had beasties to play on curve, flexible beasties too. Got a lot of diversity of play. Had a paralyze for instantaneous utility. And now Raptor has flooded with aura, no beasties in hand. Boost aura, barely providing value, a scare ball lightning, and for what? New beings.
This is that was definitely not the play in my opinion. The dark player also has some really good options right now. They have Mothman to get Indrid Cold out quick, to get back to the Napa Rebobs that they have lost. They have Sinister Shadows. They have a Death Beam. It's looking
It's
pretty
grim.
good for that dark player.
It's looking pretty grim, would you say?
Well, I don't know. Grim, yes, of course. Why not?
but
But
yeah,
um, it's gonna. I'm sorry. I ignored that jokes, but that was a dad joke, and I appreciate the attempt. I am laughing in the inside.
it was pretty bad. I wouldn't worry about it. But actually, on Injured Cold, right? Injured Cold has been not a super popular card. We've seen people really gravitate to Wendigo. I mean, no surprise. It is like the face of Nightfall, arguably. But Mothman and Wendigo are the face of Nightfall the most, I would say. And Wendigo's been very popular as dark players. But Injured Cold, not exactly popular yet. Waiting to see some amazing play with it. But who knows? Just like Thunderbird, right? Thunderbird didn't see a lot of play initially from a lot of Lightning players. But now everyone's running Thunderbird. Like, not everyone, but a lot of people are running Thunderbird. It's very common. If you're playing Quetz deck, you're probably going to see at least one Thunderbird, right, in a game. Because it's that.
Agree.
And Injured Cold may be that way too. People just may have to pick it up. But
went
hey,
for the Indrid.
but hey, here we got the Mothman Nightfall coming out, and this is a very different Mothman than Captivation Mothman. Whereas
he went for the
Injured Cold, and this is probably the best play as is, right? Because he could have played Mothman Nightfall and gotten value out immediately, right? For it. But actually, hold on. I think we forgot to do the fear.
You forgot to do the fear. Yep. First, yeah. So how this resolves for everyone watching, the fear resolves, and then he can then do the Injured Cold move, right? But let's see what he does.
Oof. There we go, and that is brutal because that just sets back the Lightning player even harder right now. Dark is
Go ahead.
Dark is amazing at putting back tempo immediately, right? And asking about Dark, Dark is a very flexible aura type. It has control-based elements similar to those of Frost and Water, but it also has elements of aggression, right? With things like Napa Rebobs and Mothman, very aggressive early game, mid-range cards, right? But yeah,
this game board is a dream. You have the Mothman scaling everything that comes into play. You have Injured Cold giving things immortal. You have 2 Napa Rebobs that just came in with haste. You have 2 Sinister Shadows in hand that you will create more Napa Rebobs with. You have a Lightning in a Bottle that you can expedite damage if they wanted to. and Death Beam if something escapes that scared. This is, I don't know.
It's brutal. This is a nasty board. Something Lightning is weak at is Lightning isn't great at AoE removal. They have one option with Witch's Lightning to clear off multiple beasties. But it's null and void right now, folks, because Injured Cold is out. For those who don't know, Injured Cold is giving Immortal to the other Dark Beasties. He's a raid boss. So if you do not destroy Injured Cold, their Dark Beasties are going to stay up on a board forever. You can throw all of the Paralyzed, whatever you want, at the Nap Rebobs. They will not die. Injured Cold will keep them alive. But right now, this board state is a winning game state. The Dark player can win the game just with what they have here, and Lightning player may not be able to come back at all. That's how oppressive Dark is at times, right?
And they chose to play Thunderbird over the Quets. That's a very interesting move as well. They're all scared once again, right? Because we have the Mothman. Exactly. I don't know. This is very exciting to watch.
It is very exciting, right? We're seeing Dark flourish, and we're seeing Injured Cold flourish. Like this is prime time Injured Cold, right? There are in MetaZoo, there are some pages, some cards, right, that are easier to use than others, right? Easier. Injured Cold is not one of those cards, but in the right decks and with the right hands, Injured Cold can shine, and Injured Cold is arguably gonna make this light dark player win the game, because normally, even if they had, say, a lightning split, that Mothman promo is not gonna die. That thing is not gonna be destroyed, right? You can lightning split Injured Cold, but now you're not going to target the Mothman promo.
Correct.
Yeah, in chess they have a tactic called a fork, and right now there's a fork right now because the lightning player needs to target the Mothman promo, take away the effect it has to give scare on all the beasties, but it has to take away Injured Cold to destroy a Mothman promo. There's a clear fork right now, and because not only does the lightning player have to focus on multiple beasties right now, but they don't have the ways to deal with the multiple beasties, and the fleet was null and void on Thunderbird. This is fantastic dark play, probably the best dark play we've seen on
Not
stream.
only that, but right now, as you say, like the dark players turn, they're gonna get more rebobs, and though they're gonna have only 5 health, they're gonna still hit for that double damage.
Right,
they're gonna be immortal.
They're gonna be immortal.
For context, folks that are watching us, like when we started to design Nightfall under Kevin, Dark was the first time that we were trying. So this is very sort of like a very interesting moment for both of us, watching Dark really shine with some of the mechanics that we started Nightfall on. So really, really interesting game right now.
It's awesome, yeah. And Rebobs, if you don't know, Rebobs is actually one of the first Nightfall beats we designed, and it actually barely changed from testing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it barely changed from testing to what it was now. It actually, I think it remained.
Sorry, they just didn't play their extra rebobs before the Sinister Shadows. That was interesting.
Yeah, that I think. There's got to be a reason why. Likely setting up for a Bloodlust. It costs 1, right?
Yeah, I guess, but 3 tokens versus 2. I don't know. That's definitely what you call it. They are doing the Bloodlust. I guess that in the current board state, I would just like to have more tokens, but that's just would be my take. I would have saved that Bloodlust, but still an amazing board state. This is a great example of what Dark can do, and I'm very happy to witness this with you, Kevin, and all our watchers.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome Dark play, guys. This is awesome Dark play. Seeing just Dark players getting the right cards at the right time to give this scare lockdown. This is scare lockdown. Injured Cold lockdown with their Immortal, right? So it's a pure lockdown. But
a heads up though, like because you did mention that Injured Cold, it's one of those cards that you have to know how to play, and it is very often that we ran into this potential play with Injured in the start that if you do play Injured but you go all in with all your beasts and you don't defend Injured, then you will lose its effect, right?
Yeah.
It is not like it's not a super, you have to play defense, a little bit of defense with Injured until you get the board state to protect it. But right now, once again, this board state is insane.
Yeah, this is an amazing board state. We got And for those who don't know, those little Joker icons, those are Napa Repops, basically. Those are 5 LP Napa Repops from Sinister Shadows. An amazing dark card, which can push on aggression, right? We just saw, well, that was at least 300 points of damage in one turn, right?
Yes.
And with a board state lockdown. But let's keep in mind, again, this was the fear of playing New Beginnings so early on. People are so attached to New Year's New Beginnings and attached to New Beginnings, and that looks like a scoop right there. Or yeah, it's a scoop. So that was a concede from Raptor, because that board is scary. You do not want to be against a board state like that ever, folks. That kind of is a scary board state.
I would dare to say that maybe Raptor may not have too much experience playing against Dark.
Yeah,
it could be. We are assuming here. I don't know, but
could
definitely we'll see if that's true in their next game, the outcomes of the games. Maybe now Raptor will be aware of what not to do. Oh my god! And here we have an army of fearsome critters.
Yeah, no, this is definitely very nostalgic. This is classic. This is the most classic Metazu matchup. Quetz versus Lightning versus Forest, really. Very classic matchup, and a little bit revitalized, right? We're seeing the Axe Handle Hounds. We're seeing Lufa Lang, like some new beasties from Nightfall we're not very used to. And we're seeing Forest just decimate this Lightning player right now. Lightning player is playing on curve, and they have a lot of options next turn, but it may not be enough. There is just a ton of fearsome critters to deal with right now. All thanks to the Forest God's Amber. And what I would presume is a growth. You betcha, a growth and a New Year's in the cemetery. Oh, man. So this is where Lightning is, So back-to-back Lightning games where Lightning is just struggling against these decks, right?
Yeah, even a Lightning split under these conditions, those tribal boosts are like insane right now.
Yes,
it's an 80 health tribal boost,
right.
And you have Squonk. Squonk is making an appearance here. That
is 100 damage for each person critter right now. 100 damage. That's likely going to be game next turn. It's very hard. This is a hard to. 100 damage for each tribe boost person critter. That's so much damage, and I'm glad to see it, because when I was in Dallas for pro play support, we did not see any Forest decks in the top 8.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now we're seeing Forest is making a little bit of a renaissance coming back, right? Not only with its core beasties, but we're seeing Axe Handle and Bursting Spiderlings and Lufaling making some comeback, right? Or making some appearances at least. Lufaling,
definitely.
Yeah. Lufaling is very
exciting. Sorry, there's a little lag there. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. That's the thing about online, right? A little bit of a delay. Going on. But yeah, you wanna? I'm really tempted to actually watch the rematch. If you're cool with that, I want to watch the rematch happen, because.
Of course, no, me too. But I'm just excited as you were talking about Forest, our final match in when we were in Texas for the pro support, we had Water against Lightning for the final, and then for the bronze match, we had Lightning versus Dark.
Nice.
So. It's nice to see that Forest. We've seen healthy Forest decks, and something to highlight as Kevin is here, right? Like, and Kevin and the rest of the R&D team is designing the sets. We really want to make. They really want to make all decks, or as many decks as possible, viable, right?
Right.
So that's why we're so excited to see Forest do what Forest does, Lightning do what Lightning does, but also Water, Dark, Light. Flame, all that we've seen. So just to give you some context of the excitement.
Right. Diversity is, like, as director of R&D, diversity of gameplay is huge. I want people to play our types that want to play, and I want them to have fun doing it, right? And we've seen at least 6 ore types this weekend, and it's great. Like, it's great seeing all these ore types, and it's very different games, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm as excited as you for rematch. I kind of want to see Lightning win just to see another game of best of 3, because this is a fun matchup.
It does look like you might get this with that Quetz out and all that aura.
Yeah, insane first hand. We saw double shock aura turn 1. What are the odds of that? Lightning last coming out. This is a very, very volatile board state for the Lightning player because yes, they got the Quetz out turn 2, and that is insane, but they don't have the card advantage the Dark player does, and their aura base is so fragile. Shock aura easily destroyed by most mid-range beasties, right? So Lightning player, while they have the lead right now, their aura is a bit volatile. But the top deck Lightning Alley, gonna pull through a little bit. Gonna give some more ramp. That's Quetz number 2, folks, coming out. And if you know how strong Quetz is, you know how devastating it is to get 2 Quetzes early game, turn 3, folks. 2 Quetzes, turn 3. I want to say it one more time. 2 Quetzes, turn 3. Insane.
Oh, and not only that, it's interesting to see that we haven't seen. There's no Thunderstorm again, right? We have an aura that was needed here, drawn by the Dark player. But right now, with the Quetz having fleet, with the aura advantage, I'm not as worried about those artifacts because Dark doesn't have much fleet, only Mocha Vampire, I think, right? So, and maybe if you do like the Injured Cold or the Sinister Shadows, for the most part, the Dark player won't be able to hit those aura sources for probably a couple of turns at all, right?
Right.
So definitely interesting play here. They have 5 aura available. They have the possibility between Jersey Devil, which would be protected from damage if it's not paralyzed, right? Because it has the effect it doesn't take combat damage, but paralysis will take that away.
It's got to
take the Mothman. Yeah,
it's got to take it though. It's all about the chance now. This Dark player, while they have card advantage in hand, they're on edge right now, right? Or the aura's there, but the cards don't seem to give justice. Like, the Dark player wants some Death Beam, maybe a Zombie Apocalypse. Give it to them. They have the 5 aura. Give them the Zombie Apocalypse. But it's just not doing it right now. It's not doing it. Rebobs, get out of here. It's not going to do anything. But, going for that.
He went for the devil. We imagine that he's screaming right now.
He is screaming. We hope they're screaming. Here's the fear. That fear will help a lot. We got the fear. The fear is going to give some tempo back to the Dark player. Much needed tempo back. But it won't. It will stall a little bit, right?
Not much, right? Because he has a lot of aura, and the fleet on the Quetz is devastating. Yeah,
it is devastating, right? All it does is, let's say he pulled a 3rd Quetz top deck. It would slow that down, right? But it's not a huge amount of slowing down. Anyways, not much.
Not against Quetz, yeah.
Not against Lightning Quetz, no, not against. We saw a little hesitation from a Dark player, SaintBre. Because should I get Rebobs out? Nah. Oof, that is spicy. A New Beginnings play with this much aura could be good. But we saw it, Emilio. New Beginnings arguably made the Lightning player lose. That was the biggest misplay, right, that game. An early New Beginnings.
Good. He played the Quetz first. That's okay. Yes. Yeah.
No, they're doing it.
I would have done this too. Quetz and New Beginnings. Why not? Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
Actually, I'm gonna answer that right there. Why not Zombie Apocalypse? We'll see. We'll see if he takes care of that crystal.
Oof! Didn't get the zombie, and that's what it wanted. That Lightning Storm gonna juice up those Quetzes, hitting for 50 plus 30 plus 10 damage from Light Bulb. It's going to be a ton of damage from these Quetzes coming in.
That's 90 damage for each Quetz, from each Quetz, yes.
90 damage. One Quetz. If that Quetz lands a paralyzed, that Jersey Devil is destroyed.
Apparently it did. What happened there? There was no roll. I think they forgot about the effect or something, or it was paralyzed and not.
I'll just say it.
Yeah, that was maybe something we missed, or
it might have been something we missed. But it looks like I thought they had to over paralyze on the Jersey Devil, right? Because
pretty sure because Jersey Devil will nullify all damage from combat. There's no luck potion. I don't see any luck potion.
I'm gonna call it over because I feel like that's a pretty big. That's pretty
could
big.
be a very can definitely decide a bit of the game there. So yeah, let's see if Fajir can take care of this.
Right, probably deserves a rewind right there. Or
for those of you watching, Fajir is the name on Discord, but the MCO is called Elliot, and you might have met him if you were in Seattle, for our event there. Yeah, Comic-Con. Yeah.
okay, well, let me message him real fast.
The zombie apocalypse being played, but right now I'm just a little bit concerned of, that play.
Okay.
As this gets resolved, for those of you watching, Zombie Apocalypse will take care of all beasties,
Right.
and they will be replaced by zombie tokens that have 10 life, hit for 10 damage. It clears both sides of the board, so yeah.
Right, that play it is still a reversible game state right now because there is no card. It's still a reversible game state, but we need to resolve the issue. We can. So while it's resolving, let's move on to the table, shall we? We got a water versus dark, very nice. And
more dark. Yes.
New card, Vampire Mercy Brown here. Sorry, I pinged. I shouldn't have pinged, but this is fantastic, right? We're seeing a new. This card I've seen to be pretty popular actually among the community as a whole because of the potency of Infectious with cards like Power Up Red, and the like, right? So
for those of you watching that might not know what Infectious is a trait for our beasties that when said beastie destroys, lands the killing blow on another beastie, that beastie, in this case the Mercy Brown, creates a token that has the same HP and attack as Mercy Brown in this case. So basically, if you're going to be destroying your opponent beastie, your board state grows. And Mercy Brown does this amazing ability that it also gives Infectious 2 tokens that it creates, that she creates. So then your tokens can create tokens. Vampire Mercy Brown can create tokens. Vampire Mercy Brown is invisible. That trait that we talked about at the start of the stream, in which basically it cannot be attacked, it cannot be blocked. So very, very powerful card. Has 30 HP, so it can be removed with damage spells. But in a water versus dark matchup, what are the options there?
what are the options there, right, Emilio? Well, we got Death Beam, of course. Death Beam easily takes away almost any of the major.
Of course, I'm thinking from water. Like, what is water's response to Mercy Brown? Maybe Loveland. Loveland Frogman, of course.
Frogman, yes. Torrential River. We haven't seen a lot of Torrential River, but it has a lot of potency there for what it's doing. So, I call it TR. So TR, very potent, of course.
Celebration, right? First anniversary celebration with also
anniversary. Yep. We got the anniversary too. So those cards definitely, being able to deal with Vampire Mercy Brown. Okay. Yeah, this can happen with while this is a very good for streaming, being able to see a lot of games. It can happen like this, where there is some rewinds going on.
Yeah. Do we have a report from Fajir and that matchup of Lightning versus Dark?
Checking right now. We're waiting for a response. Took this game real fast. So Dark has a lot of cards going for himself, and a good little reset it can pull, no problem, with the New Year's new beginnings. Save for a dampen if a dampen holds.
Yeah, but with that amount of aura, I don't know. That hand, I wouldn't do it thus far. Would you? Would you do a new beginning?
No, not yet. It's way too early. But Mothman Cryptonation.
Mothman, there you go.
Mothman is a fantastic card against water. Not only because it can one shot. Like right now, it can one shot any of the crabs, no problem, on its own. So not only can it one shot any of the things on its board, but it can also ignore Flood the Earth because it has flight. So Mothman Cryptonation is actually an amazing card against water at all periods of the game. So
it is a very powerful card indeed. Just 100 life, 100 hit. It is just a powerful card, and it also has a Terra boost, right? So it can hit for more if you have the right Terra out. And right now we have a City out, which is one of the boosts that Mothman can get.
Exactly.
Definitely a very interesting matchup. Those crabs are not doing much because they don't have anything to destroy right now, so they cannot bookmark water player.
Sure.
They can do damage, but they are not going to do the bookmark, right? Like they're not going to give that advantage because they're not destroying beasties. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Exactly, and the thing is too is that they can't defend against Vampire Mercy Brown because of invisibility, and they can't defend against Mothman. Well, they can, but it would just it would be one shot. But this is not looking too good for Dark Player. Water Player is pulling a lot of damage on it, a lot of quick damage, and the Dark Player has to pull some tempo here to stay in the game. Smoky Spirit's definitely adding a lot of pressure as well to the Dark Player. Now, if the Dark Player is going to New Year's New Beginnings, that will take away both Smoky Spirits in hand, but they'll have to run the risk of the Water Player drawing into more Smoky Spirits.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have to pull...
I don't know. I don't know about that one. Also, you will be getting rid of your Injured Cold.
Right. And the only potion we have right now is, in a cemetery, is a Lightning in a Bottle. And there's Smoky Spirits number 1, right? Dark Player, again, they have room for growth. They can do the New Year's, but they're going to be very patient. They're going to take their time. Playing Ludwig here, arguably a misplay, since Ludwig is going to get destroyed, no problem.
Bookmark, and then our opponent can bookmark a page.
Exactly. It's not necessarily...
even if he puts that tribal boost. Oh no, that's an absorb aura. My vision is horrible. Sorry. I thought that was a tribal boost, but it's an absorb aura. Interesting.
Right. This Mermaid Scale might be a misplay, right? Arguably, right? Absorb aura is one of those cards that it's either metagame or it's not. And right now, it's a metagame because people are running at least 1 or 2 copies in the main deck half the time. If not, they're gonna side like Absorb Aura. And with his cards in hand, I would be scared of Absorb Aura. I would have held back the Mermaid Scales, arguably. And
what's going on right now? He destroyed the Ludwig, but didn't bookmark a card? Is that what just happened?
Can't talk about damage right now because it's doing chesty damage.
But they already did the Ludwig though.
Yeah, I'm gonna call right now.
It's a May, right? For the crab.
No, you have to do it. So the fact
so they have to. Yeah.
Oof, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Potentially, you can bounce and then you can discard the hand, right? So we'll see what happens. 2 Mothmans on field. It's pretty neat.
So they have to draw for.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm gonna still ping real fast.
Worries. They absorb aura, the Mermaid Scales. They bookmark the card.
They did.
Playing another Ludwig.
Need to read the chat. Total judging it right now. But yeah, Mothman promo and Mothman Cryptonation. We're seeing a different pairing. It's nice seeing these Mothmans come out. Because Mothman, all the Mothmans are good cards. And they're all very different in what they do. Right? If you have to give how would you, like, in one sentence, how would you kind of in one sentence, how would you kind of describe the identity of each Mothman? Because all three play differently.
Yeah, for me, the Cryptid Nation Mothman, the big one we see in the board right now, that's for me the beat stick, right? This is the beast that has the highest attack, highest health. So he's just a big creature there. The promo Mothman is more like the strategic, I would say, like the more like I want to control your board. Besides being an amazing card, that the promo Mothman is more of a control card, at least in my view. And then the Nightfall Mothman is the combo card for sure, because you have quite a few plays that you can do. You can uh, provide your opponent that they don't draw, they don't bookmark, right? If you use its ability, you can also just bring out Indrid Cold and go into a direct attack, potentially build up your board. So I would say that like that's like the flexible one, the Nightfall one. Promo is more control, and then the Cryptid Nation is the powerhouse. Just like a lot of health, a lot of attack. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. A beat stick, a control monster, and a utility, right?
Or a
Like,
combo card, yeah. I would say
yeah,
I would say that the Mothman for Nightfall is a combo card.
yeah,
It has a lot of interactions that I'm excited to see be used in the future, or maybe in this tournament. We'll see.
agreed.
So far, we've only seen it being used to fetch out Indrid Cold this tournament.
They forgot to scare.
Yeah. Looks like our casters might be, a little tired. It's understandable.
It is game 3. Yeah, it's game 3.
It's good that we're seeing this on stream and learning with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, because the Mothman promo is giving that scare for sure. Dark is in a very awesome, and I mean awesome board state right now. Because they could power up Red, the Mercy Brown, and be making
Mercy Brown.
huge tokens. Now, with Infectious doesn't carry over the attack damage tokens, but it does carry over the LP. So Dark literally has some huge tokens, like just beefy.
The options are really a lot, right? You can power up the Mercy Brown. If they draw that extra aura, they can also Indrid Cold and get 2 of the Ludwigs out that they have discarded, and they get powered up. All your beasts are immortal. It's just a lot of upside here, and that's why that New Year's is gonna stay there for some time. I think.
Right.
They're not gonna lose that Indrid Cold. I'm pretty sure.
Again, this is Dark. See, this is awesome. Round three is the round of Dark by far. We're seeing awesome Dark play all around. Just awesome Dark play. Right.
Then we have a Mercy Brown token with the
huge, like
130 HP.
20 attack, but 130 LP. Like that is massive token, big boy token. Actually, is it 130? It is 130.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 130 LP token. First time on stream seeing this. This is awesome. But
I haven't actually pulled this off myself with my dark decks, so it's amazing to see the power up Mercy Brown and getting the hit. Yeah, so very very exciting here.
Yeah,
they have 2 water babies and yeah, you were gonna say.
How would you describe like Dark versus Water? You think it's an even matchup? There's no type advantage. Do you think Dark beats Water half the time? Like, what do you think is the matchup? Like, how to describe it? Who has the advantage?
Well, yeah, with this decks, like I don't know what they're running fully. I mean, we have a good idea here. We have their deck list, I understand, but right now, I would say, at least in my matchups, Dark and Water are normally head to head. For Dark to reliably beat Water, it's just knowing how to use your death beams. I think it comes down to that.
Yeah,
and knowing what you have to remove, and also those fears, landing those fears. Water does not have the fleet on everything like lightning does, so those fears also allow you to slow it back. As we've discussed, Water wants 5 aura. If you're setting them back with those fears, it can really set them back, their board state and their tempo.
Right.
We have a nighttime, so
That's
now that
huge. That's
Mothman
huge.
is hitting, they're all getting 50 boost from the
Right.
nighttime.
To put it in
Mercy
perspective,
Brown
yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
To
Oh,
put it in perspective, that one nighttime just boosted the damage, of his beasties by 60 for all.
and now we have a New Year's. That
Right.
is quite the move.
Yeah. Not a
Quite
new
the move.
beginning, a New Year's.
The
But
New Year's, yeah.
our players said, "Get that injured cold out of here. I'm playing New Year's. I don't need injured cold." Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
they've done it. And they have Wendigo, they have another Mercy Brown, they have a little goblin to take care of the water babies.
Right. This is a good,
Um,
and honestly, it was a it's very tempting, right? Because you could have definitely kept that hand. You could have definitely kept Intercold, and Intercold would have provided a lot of value. Again, it's not that Intercold is bad there, but our dark player is going to be aggressive, right? They could have kept Intercold and could have top deck, but they weren't taking the risk, right? They wanted to be aggressive. They knew they could New Year's. They didn't know if they could get Intercold out next turn or turn after. Intercold would have been good, and it would have arguably guaranteed a win, right? But
yeah.
right now, our dark player is scared. Why are they scared? LP's at 220. They gotta make some plays happen right now, right here, and they're gonna make the plays happen. They're gonna do it, right? But
I understand that, but really, like, I don't know if I wanted to risk a Flood the Earth being drawn. Right,
yeah,
your Mothman will
so
survive, but everything else is going away.
that's massive, right? So, oh man, because right now
It's a tough game. It's a tough game. It's exciting to watch. To see those Mothman side by side against water, that is,
it's
and
all
then Mercy Brown with that power up red, that is insane, insane board state.
insane.
But we do see that there are a River
Yeah,
of Time. There's
that's a
the
scary.
air.
That's a scary hand. Again, we're seeing again and again, Emilio. New Year's plays, new beginnings plays, arguably throwing the game. Because before the dark player, great board state, right? You don't have to play those cards. You didn't have to do it, but they decided to do it, right?
It's
And
tempting. It's tempting.
it's
Yeah.
tempting. It makes or break a game. But a water player, Flood the Earth, River of Time, Lightning in the Ball, Chessie, Crad, into their beasties. Get the reset, right? Like, this is, like, that one play, one card alone, make or breaks a matchup, right?
And it's interesting because just to contrast in the event that we were at Pro Support, like the top decks didn't even use New Year's. They had it, they didn't use them in their place. And in this tournament, we're seeing New Year's just being played a lot.
Yes.
It's just interesting how big of a turnaround that card can do. It's a big comeback, and I'm excited to see what this water player does now.
Yeah, no, the water
In
player
the lake.
off. They're gonna pop off. They're gonna deluge right now. They're gonna deluge. River of Time, Flood the Earth, and I don't blame him because Jacob just gave him 7 cards. You gotta expect it. 7 cards, right? 8 cards if you count the cards you just draw on your turn, right? It's a lot.
And most of it was played, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
now he is in the perfect position for that Flood the Earth. It's just sad.
Yeah, it's sad. Okay. Wendigo, get him out of here. Vampire Mercy Brown, get him out of here. Get him out. Blood Ruby, Chaos Crystal.
That's crazy. I'm hurting. I mean, I am not biased. I mean, Dark has just been flooded. Yes, they have the Mothmans out. They won't be flooded, but still, that's a nasty play.
So a little bit of a misplay because Lake was already played. Can't contract Flood to Earth because of that. So looks like
Right.
somewhere else. It's gonna go somewhere else. River of Time, maybe.
I mean, that would be the move. Like,
Yeah,
that's how you get back from this. Yeah.
why would you not River of Time there, right? Play your beasties, reset, and then play Flood the Earth next, right?
Yeah. With this board state, that's what you have to do, and you also have the chance to potentially get some of those cards back if you want it. I mean, they're scared, right? So, but you can. Let's see, what are they doing? Okay, and yep, it's River of Time. That is definitely what they needed to do. It doesn't go to limbo, but okay, there you go.
Yep.
Okay. Awaken everything, and now they can do.
And his round's gonna end soon as well. And this is crucial. This is like, man, these games are really good, man. These games are really good.
It is amazing to see the community grow, and as we've been telling, just try different decks, and just seeing this diversity of gameplay, it's super exciting. There goes. Everything's slotted.
Oh man, like, oh,
Big sad moment for the dark player.
No, this is quite the throw. Like, I don't know. I feel like Dark Player threw the game because they had it all. They had the Mothman, but you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just give those cards. You can't just give those cards. Well, you had that board state, right? You could have just cleared. You could have cleared, go for face, go for the win. It took the risk it for the biscuit, didn't pull it, right?
It was sad. It was sad, but hard things going to a cemetery.
Devastating. It's still, dang. It's just, man.
I mean, I'm there. I'm also would be confused right now if I was a dark player. I would be questioning some choices, and it just happened. It really would have been a safe play to wait for that injured cold, get more advantage, have everything be immortal.
Yeah, it was a safe play, but it's more like you don't even have to play cold. You can just go for board, destroy beasties, keep control of the board. You have the Mothmans. The Mothmans are going to stick. Those Mothmans will carry the game, folks. And if you want to get Mothman, check out Mothman. Get a Cryptid Nation Mothman. Not only does it look good, it plays very well, as you can tell. But Jacob's been playing Mothman very well as a whole. And get the Mothman promos too, right? They're both awesome, right?
It's like that. It went through that water baby, just lost it scared.
But again, Mothman alone isn't enough. It isn't enough to carry a game if you misplay with the New Year's, right? That's what it is. But it's fine.
Right now, the water player has 6 cards in hand, 3 beasties on the board. All the aura artifacts have been destroyed for the dark player. The terrace has been destroyed.
Right. It's
water bath here. It's insane.
A water bath. It is a water bath. Water bath. Where's the soap?
I tried.
Where's the soap? It's a water bath for sure.
Oh my god.
Here's the thing though. Dark still in the game. Even after that, still in the game. Mothman's hitting for big damage, 100 damage, 50 damage, right? Way more. Dark's hitting way more than the water player is in this kind of time.
And the water player does have the option of the crabs, but Mothman, well, there's no terrace out. So those crabs will hold their ground a little bit.
Now, if Dark pulls a Bloodlust, or any kind of damage spike, but Power Bread's gone. They got the Vampire Mercy Browns. So Dark's in a decent spot here, arguably. Actually, hang on. It might be game. This might be game here, actually. Because Water's hitting for 30-30 for each Water Baby. It's 60 damage total. Chessie hits for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chessie is gonna close the game. If the scare doesn't land. It's down to the scare landing right now.
Yeah, and they're taking the chance of not letting any blockers out. Of course, they don't know that there's a Chessie and a Lightning in the bottle.
Yeah, that's a huge risk right now. Huge risk. Oh my lord, that is an octopus in That's an octopus in hand right now. Look at an octopus.
Yeah. And for context, that means that the octopus does have fleet, has the Lightning in a bottle. A lot of damage that's gonna be going on around.
Oh man, that's
the water babies. There's no blockers out.
It comes down to this, folks. What is the water going to do right here? Water can close the game, but how are they going to close it? They said octopus? Nope, Chessie instead. Give me the top deck on Chessie. Give me the contract. What is it? What is it going to be?
Another Lightning in a bottle? That would be insane.
Top deck. They did not. Hold on.
think they just did the skirt first, or what's going
I
on?
don't know.
Why?
They have to drop a chassis, right?
Yeah. Spin that deck.
Spin the deck.
Yeah.
Hope
There you
for
go.
good.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Just a
so
little bit more. That's more to get a little bit of defense.
honestly, I'm gonna say Smokey right now made the Dark Blue lose the game because that they needed any extra attack to get in, and they couldn't. Oh, it happens.
And they could have flooded the earth to draw a card, but they didn't.
They could have, right? Wawa Lake Station coming about right now, and it's doing its thing, like getting it out there. But Wawa doesn't really care about scare because it's a crap. It doesn't get scared.
Yeah.
Scared. It's a crap. Good lord. Oh. And there was other things that Dark Player could have done. They had Absorb Aura. They could have absorbed Aura Crystal. They arguably did not need a crystal. They could have absorbed Aura Crystal, get it out, get the card, get the Aura, spend it on something else, right? But the play wasn't done. It wasn't done at all.
Well, there weren't any crystals by the time that he had the Absorb Aura, though, so that makes sense.
He had a Blood Ruby and Chaos Crystal on himself, right?
Oh, that was before they flood the earth, of course.
Yeah, he could have sacked it. That's the thing. But
we see the lightning in a bottle hitting the limbo. It goes to the cemetery, but that's okay. They'll fix that. And now, did it resolve?
It goes back to that is huge. It goes,
wow, there you go.
No, Dark
play
still in the game. Still in the game, folks. Dark is going.
Dark is doing some juju dark stuff right there. The scared landed.
Oh man, it's probably not enough. It's coming up to the top. What is Dark gonna top deck? Comes up to this one single draw. What is it? Novelist.
Oh, they can draw. They can draw.
They go
Absorb Aura to draw it to bookmark card.
There is it. Let's Absorb Aura. Come on, Obelisk.
Come on. Oh.
30 damage. Caster? Oh, sorry. 40 damage. My bad. 40 damage.
No bookmark. It looks like they're not using the Absorb Aura this turn.
Oh, they're going for face right now. So hold on. They're doing the math, right? So 40. Like the water player is like, what do I Smokey? Of course you're gonna Smokey the Mothman. It's a Krypton Nation. 100 damage. You're gonna Smokey that. Why would you not Smokey that? Right.
At this point, there was no reason to not do the Absorb Aura, bookmark a card, have an extra aura laying around. It was like, I don't know.
Oh man, that dark water is holding out. He is holding out right now. I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna absorb aura themselves.
It doesn't look. I mean, they already attacked. I don't know what their plan is right now.
Oh, disconnected?
Oh no!
Shoot, I don't know if that was a surrender or if that was a. I think they're done because of time. It was a concede. Well, hey, that was a good game. Any other games going? Let me ask Elliot here if we're good. Good for Jeer.
Okay, that was a lot of.
That was
a lot.
Man, that was a climactic finale for that. That was a really good game. Oh man, a lot of back and forth that could have been. Came down to the nitty gritty, folks. 35 life points to 100 life points in the end. That was huge. But the water player ultimately had the edge because they had the Smoky Spirits, the top deck Smoky Spirits. That was awesome. Wow, what a game. And just the past two games we watched really shows the power of all the Mothmans. All the Mothmans are very good and very strong in their right hands, right? But they're beasties that take some skill to use, right? Knowing when to play them, right? Building deck around them, building your decks in a way to pull them, right? All very important, right? So
yes, and also very important that we've seen the power, of course, of cards like Growth with that Forest deck that just had an insane board state when they did Growth and New Year's,
Mm-hmm.
and just had like
Mm-hmm.
80 plus, 800 plus boost for a tribal boost. We see obviously the importance of a New Year's at the right time if you play it at all, depending on your board state. I think
Right.
that's something that our players are not gonna forget when they rewatch their games.
Right. New Year's, new beginnings, and is a thing. For all we're giving the players on user beginnings, it could have went the other way around, folks. It could have been I play New Year's, I push my lead, or I win the game. I play new beginnings, I push my lead, I win the game. But the thing is, what Amelia and I are saying is that the risk to take it may be greater than the reward of getting it. And we've seen in multiple games so far this tournament, only in round 3, not even in top cut, this in these rounds so far, that sometimes the risk hasn't been worth it, right? The opponent gets a bigger payoff, and they're going to pop off harder. And the risk of playing New Year's, playing New Beginnings later on is higher because they have more aura to spend those cards on. Versus early game, I don't have the aura to spend my cards, you know? So the card advantage isn't as much. But when you give someone 7 cards and they have 6 available aura to work with on their next turn, they're going to town. They're going to town on the cards. So if they're of time, they want their babies, Wild Like Station, Chessie, Flying Manta Ray. They're going to play all that for a water player, right? Lightning player, they're going to go to town as well. Give me Quetz. Give me more aura. Give me my glasses. Give me Ding Bell, right? Play it. Give me Lightning in a bottle. Give me a reset, right? That's what they're going to do. So
For Lightning players, I think it's even a little more dicey with Paralyze being so popular, right? Like, if you're going to do a New Year's and you're potentially giving them Paralyze, if that's going to stop you at all, it's something to consider. With Water decks, we're seeing a lot of Smoky Spirits. Even if you think that they have a Smoky Spirits in hand, you really have to be keeping track of how many have been used. What are the chances? How many Smoky Spirits am I giving my water player if you're about to close the game and you want more gas with a New Year's, New Beginnings, or just a New Beginnings? So a lot to consider. There's a lot of moving parts, as you can see in our game of Metasu. A lot of effects to keep track of, like the Mothman scaring stuff, and then we have fears and flying. There's a lot going on, right? So excited to have you all watching and potentially growing more as players, or this is your first time, we're just happy to have you here on this New Year's stream in the current time or in the future if you're watching us now when this is uploaded somewhere in the YouTubes. So yeah, very exciting times, and I'm excited to see what matches we see now. What do you think, Kevin?
I don't know, Emilio. Man, I've been getting every round. I'm getting blown away. I see no lightning in round 1. I see lightning being decent round 2. I see lightning a lot everywhere, but like dark really taking over round 3 in terms of the spotlight and just showing the potency of dark. Right? I'm telling you, dark has always had potency with Death Beam, Krypton Nation Mothman, Jersey Devil, Promo Mothman in Krypton Nation based set. But the cards in Nightfall, it opens Dark up so much more. You can play older cards in different ways. You can play new cards in newer ways you haven't explored, right? Combo decks with Rebobs, aggro decks with Rebobs and Central Shadows, control decks with Death Beam and Mothman's, mid-range decks with Wendigo, Vampire, Mercy Brown, Power Up, Infections. So many ways to play Dark. And that's why Dark is a great type to play. And one thing you notice is that Dark can go pretty stable in a lot of matchups, unless Light is metagame. That is the thing.
That is a big if. Definitely, you're speaking to the choir here. You know that I love Dark, but it's exciting. I sort of regret not seeing the Light matchup we had at the start. Hopefully, we'll get a Light matchup so people watching us can see what Light can do, because Light has gotten very exciting. We've seen some really interesting Light decks being played in tournaments and in local play. And it'll be great to get maybe a Light deck in our stream so people can really enjoy what Nightfall brought into a mix.
Yes,
Light.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna pull up some of this. We're gonna get the pairings, stream team pairings coming up. And I want to shout out everyone right now who is letting us watch their games, right? The players gave us permission to watch their games. Thank you so much for letting us watch. It's been quite the blast overall. And everyone's been playing phenomenally. Like everyone, I'm seeing great play all around, and the players are great. So please give it up to the players in the chat, and thank them for letting us watch their game and spectate. Because really, if you ever been to a tournament, it's a lot of pressure and stress. Preparing for a tournament, playing through it, it's a marathon too for the players. And all of them have been playing well. We're seeing amazing play. And I know I give a lot on the New Year's and New Beginning stuff, but again, it's so complicated. One choice, one play of a card, like that could have swung the other way. Our dark players could have won the games even more with the New Beginnings New Year's, right? And that could have been the right play to done. And I could be wrong. So
of course, and also another, just to highlight what you're saying, like our players have been playing fantastic. Like me and Kevin, we are in a different space. Like we are here just watching the games, we're commentating. So of course we might see things differently than the players that have been going back to back in matches. But they're all great players. Just because we would do things a little different, it just comes from our background, right? Like maybe playtesting a little bit and from the back, from the behind the scenes of the game. But these players are all doing fantastic, fantastic deck building. Their pages are, great pages in their decks and their board states. It's just that sometimes, there's different choices to be made. And we're only watching one game, right? Like, well, 3 games, whatever, right? Like this match on the stream, right? We don't know the choices they've made in other games. We don't know what their future choices are. And that will be more in the rankings, right? So just because maybe in the stream there was a play that we think or we call as a misplay, right? Doesn't really mean that that player is not doing great choices across the tournament. It's just it's a snapshot of what they're doing. So it's important to know that our comments are made with lots of appreciation for our players and just trying to highlight to you, the viewers, the different things that could be going on, different considerations, so that you can enjoy the possibilities of gameplay as much as we are enjoying this tournament. Yeah.
Yes, it really is amazing gameplay, and it's wild as a whole.
As we've mentioned, very different from our first tournaments, especially our Kickstarter tournaments, in which it was mostly Lightning and Forest. It is very refreshing to see all this diversity of decks and the ideas going on behind it. Like, what beasts are people focusing, or are casters focusing on? Those T-Kellers, I'm sorry, Kevin, they're still on my mind. Those 5 or 6 T-Kellers.
That flame player is playing five T-Kellers, 5 of them. Just like running it down with those T-Kellers.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight. Still a highlight for me, but from this turn, those Mothmans.
No, yeah, that made round 3. Mothman, all 3 Mothmans made round 3, right? And they were just used in so many different ways. Mothman combination being the beat stick that it should be known for, right? Mothman promo being the scare control known for. And then, of course, the combo of the Nightfall Mothman. Not seeing a lot of play in terms of damage or lockdown, but seeing play in setting up a win, right? Like, arguably, the win from that Dark player in the first game we saw, round 3, that was because of Mothman Nightfall. It wasn't because Injured Cold, because Mothman Nightfall searched Injured Cold, cheated him out, got the fear, and got in there. That's why it won. It wasn't because of Injured Cold, it was because that Mothman came in and pushed that tempo, right? It was huge.
That 5 to 6, as you saw, like in one of the games, like the previous game, that Injured Cold was sitting in the hand. There was only 5 Dark Aura out for a while, right? And the Injured was sitting in the opponent's hands. So you can see the power of that Mothman 5 drop, getting the Injured Cold out, as Kevin is highlighting. And Immortal, for those of you that might not fully understand Immortal right now, Immortal means that when the beasties, in this case Dark, because Injured Cold gives all other Dark beasties, not including himself, Immortal, that means that when their life points drop to 0, they stay on play. They can still be removed with spells such as Death Beam, right? but damage will not remove them from the field. So that's definitely, you know, when you have like a Napa Rebobs sticking around longer than it should, it's gonna be hitting for that double caster damage every turn, and that is, you know, that is a tempo that is hard to beat with Napa Rebobs.